Okay, good afternoon. Midday review, 12:01 p.m., September 12th, 2017. I'm going to do some trade reviews from recent activity in my accounts. Take a look at the ones that were alarmed today and look at the daily momos. That's what I have on my list so far. If anybody has a chart they want to look at or share with the team, that'd be great. So basically, recently I was in oil. Yesterday I was in ARRY, still in that, SNAP, still in that, and TVIX. So TVIX, I explained on yesterday's video that I sent out, TVIX was a trader bias error. Not good for a trader to get involved in biased trades. You can potentially get burned, very, very bad. So anyway, I explained in that video how I'm tightening up on my trades. The other was oil. That was crazy town. I got out okay, a little bit up, depending on the account. Some of them were basically flat, some were up. Then the other two are ARRY and SNAP. Now there are some small bags out there that I'm holding from previous, very small, that I'm going to review at some point here in the very near future. Very small part of my account that I didn't transfer along with the new accounts. But anyway, ARRY and SNAP. So I'm going to review those really quick for the poor folks that are along on the ride with me, especially ARRY, because of course I've received a number of messages about it. ARRY on the daily is set up, so it's a conviction trade for me. I know where this company's at, and normally I don't do my fundamentals. When I get into the bigger trades or conviction trades, I will. So I've done my work on the fundamentals on it, but beyond that, on the daily it's set up. So it's over the 200. It doesn't completely respect the 200, but it is over the 200, and its trend, of course, is primarily up with recent action, very bullish. So very much like what happened here, could happen here, but I expect it to be a good long-term play. If it fails, and it would have to completely fail, then I would have to get out for the loss. And depending on the account, I think it would be somewhere in the neighborhood of about, it might be between 3 to 8% of any account. And if you take say 15% off on an average of 5%, it's a few percent or whatever. But it depends on the account. It's complicated, but the short of it is I don't think it's going to fail. It has definitely come off as a day trade. It's a very poor day trade. But as a swing, in fact, I'm confident in adding to it if and when it turns. So I'm watching it very close, of course. So I'm just going to reset an alarm here quick. Okay, so that's ARRY set up. It's all alarmed and ready to go. I'm going to leave that on the board because I'm in it. SNAP, it came off on the day and then turned around and ran again. It's best traded on its 2-hour chart, but let's look at it on the daily here. So this is its post IPO fall off, and in a typical bottom fashion, you get this here. And mixed in with that is earnings. So it's post earnings, it's post bottom action. MACD came up and it's been trending ever since. The stock RSI on the daily turned back around, and the 20 is about to cross the 50. I'm extremely bullish on this chart. This does have some sentiment attached to it, of course, because Snap is not perceived to be as valuable as the market has it priced. But technically speaking, the stock is set up. So I got to go with the technical on it. I'm extremely bullish on it. I'm expecting to see the 100-day at minimum, which brings it about, it depends how fast it gets there. If it gets there, which brings it up in around $16.60 to $17 before we see it come back and retest an MA and then possibly go again. Now, of course, I'm watching the stock RSI very close, but stock RSIs, they can stay maxed for a long time, and this is a reversal bottom play. IPO washout probabilities are very high to the upside. So some would say risky, but I know my probabilities on it, and they're very high. So I've got a conviction on the Snap trade, and that's why I haven't wavered in it. And I've got a conviction on the ARRY trade, and that's why I haven't wavered in that one either. I could have cut ARRY this morning and saved myself a little bit of grief, and if I was more on it, I probably could have, but that's a coulda, shoulda, woulda, and in hindsight, very difficult to see. So I'm in that one. I'm in Snap, and I'm staying in them while they are not broken. And in fact, I might add to them. Snap, I don't know that I would add to, but ARRY on a washout like it is, and on a turn, I would definitely consider adding to it. So that's those two. TVIX explained. Oil, I went into great detail yesterday. Snap, do I have it alarmed properly? I do. Also on the board this morning was ALDX. I expected this to come off a little more. I was watching it very close for a short. I never did trigger. The other one that was moving, I wanted to trigger, and I couldn't get Boros AEMD. There was a good short opportunity in there. This just never did come off, and it's probably going to pop again here with the 50 pinching to the VWAP on the 5. When the 20 pinched race to the VWAP, it got a small pop. So that's probably going to happen again. So there'll probably be a pop on the day. But anyway, I did a little bit of research on this one, and I don't particularly think it's going to hold any of these gains, but we'll see. Trading 660 on the day, 57.02%. So it's still over its 50% too. And that's what I was watching for also. I was watching for a solid failure under 50%, under VWAP, and under its 5-minute candles. CVS. So this one was one of the other ones I was going to trigger. There's a shoulda, coulda, woulda. This one is very much our setup. The 200 coming down, swooping down. Definitely bottom action for some time. That's the only thing that concerned me about it. Up over its previous high is basically an absolute long in my thinking. Now it's still a ways away, 84.51-ish. That puts it into some serious resistance, but I think if it solidly gets up over there, then I think you really got something here. So I think what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to alarm it there because I didn't trigger here. And I'm going to watch this one close. So this was on my very, very short list with the others that I triggered here in the last few days that I did not. So there is room in between there where it is right now. The other, I guess the other alarm I could put on this is when the 20 crosses the 50. If that happens, then there's a very high probability of significant lift on that day. 20 crossing the 50. That one is probably one of my favorites. Well, it is one of my favorite setups. There's no doubt about it. I like it a lot. That bottom lasted for a long time. Once it's up over 84.55-ish, it's and holds on the daily, especially the weekly, it's probably a good solid reversal. It is up against resistance right now on the intraday. I don't know what happened there. If that was a fat finger, it must have been that day. It had to have been. So that's CVS. We also have the Apple event today. I'm not going to comment on it because it's not a play that I'm involved in, but some of the traders in our room are. By the way, ARRY on the daily, so it's up over its 200. The MAs are on the right side. Well, the 20 is up through the 200, so that's already occurred. The 50, 100 still, they still have to do the same with price above. But what's important is the 20 MA is being tested right now on a back fill, and that'll be interesting to see what happens. See if we get the reversal on it. Snap, I think, is going to get a pretty good pop here when that 20 breaches. So it's basically in the process of breaching right now. It probably won't take long, and this is a guess, but it probably won't take long to its target once it breaches. And there is a resistance at about 1683, I think. Natural resistance. Yeah, somewhere in there. But it's an IPO washout turnaround. That resistance doesn't really always apply. So I'm watching it close here. My entry, I think, was 1575, if I remember correct. It depends on the account, but yeah, 1573 to 1575, depending on the account. So it's getting really close to the buy again. Pardon me. Sorry about my allergies. Okay, so that's that. CVS we looked at. Let's look at the other alarms that went off. There's been a number the last few days. RNN is one that I was watching. I don't really like the setup itself, but I think it's going to run. But it's high risk, and right now with the red that I've experienced, I tighten up whenever I experience red. So I get, it's the way I am. Yeah, that's just the way I do things. Shop. Let's take a look at Shop quick. So this reminds me of the Tesla chart. It also reminds me of my relationship to it when I was an investor early on. I was in this and got out of it. Tesla, I had the same story. And anyway, this is a stock that's in a growth area, online internet. I don't expect it to stop anytime soon, but I have to admit that Apple event could have some effect on this or other tech. And there's other things happening that have me concerned about tech, but we'll watch. I'm not going to get into a lot of detail there because nothing's been confirmed, but I think, you know, if I had to list the top 20 here to singularity type plays, this would make the list. So it just keeps going. And what do you do, right, for an entry? My only suggestion to you would be to wait for that stock RSI to hit the bottom and then go if you're going to enter on Shop. Or even the MACD. If you get lucky enough to see a MACD hit the bottom. So I'm going to alarm this MACD so when it does turn down, I know. And then I can follow it the other way. I'm just going to change my air conditioning here, so if the mic goes weird, if you don't mind letting me know, that'd be great. The electronics in here, there's a lot of communication between them. Interference. Okay. Alarms. So RNN I'm not going to look at because it's not something I'm going to get into. AKTX is a bottom play that has been respecting its MAs on the bottom with its stock RSI, R mean squeeze momentum up, and its other indicators up and volumes way up. I wouldn't doubt if that'll see that $6 mark at least at the 100 MA. I like it, but it's a little higher risk than my threshold right now. But I really like it. It's got the ingredients, technically speaking, as far as the chart's concerned, to continue. So, but not going to take it. 520. Take care, Chris. XOMA, we've been watching this one for some time. It really, the last 4 or 5 days, I guess it's 4 days now, hasn't done much. Stock RSI is coming off. It's been a great play. We were on it right from early. Never did take the play. I would expect that it's going to come off and visit an MA next, but I could be wrong. Stock RSI is coming off. So I think what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to alarm the stochastic RSI. And then if it goes the other way, follow it the other way. If it gets break, if it breaks out again, might look at it. The markets are definitely shifting. There's, we'll see how Apple event goes here. ABEO, same idea, almost identical. And its stock RSI is off, and its MACD is starting to curl down, and squeeze momentum's turning darker green. So I think the two of them are twins as far as the way they trade. They're very, very similar. I think I'm going to do the same thing. So these have been great trades that we've been following. It's so it hasn't been the fault of the market in terms of what we've been following or what we've been following. It's in terms of my last month or 6 weeks has been more execution and focus on where these plays actually are. So this one's done well off its bounce. It does have the makings of a pretty aggressive move forming. It's already got a decent move since I first alerted this, but the 20's looked across the 50 and the 100's right there too. And this is a sidewinder. Came out of it and popped, and now you're about to get the follow through with the MAs. Stock RSI is high, but the MACD's got lots of room to move, and so does the squeeze momentum. So, well, what am I saying? I certainly wouldn't be panicked if I was long right now. That 20 through the 50 is probably the best alarm. So that's HCN. And the other one we looked at was ABEO. I'm going to make a list today. And XOMA. So we've looked at the oil, ARRY, SNAP, TVIX trades. Then as far as the alarms, CVS, SHOP, HCN, ABEO, and XOMA, GTHX. So this one's very similar to the other two that we were looking at, ABEO, and I think it was XOMA. Stock RSI is coming off, and they're flagging. This particular one doesn't have the history, so because it's more recent, it could do things the other two won't. Stock RSI crossing stock RSI. So this one's more of a wild card. GTHX. So we'll follow that one's story. SNES, been following this one for some time. So it technically worked its way through these MAs under the 200 perfect, up through the 200 perfect move, test the 200, another perfect move, test it again, gets its 20 MA and goes, and it's been gone since. Its MACD is starting to cross down, and stock RSI is definitely crossed down, but technically couldn't have been traded more perfectly. So this one's got me super intrigued when it turns. These are nice setups. So stock RSI crossing stock RSI. So Snap still has some Momo on the day. ARRY still testing that 20. So that's SNES. ARWR, another one we were all over. I'm not sure if JD is still in this. I know a few other folks that I talked to on DM in our group are in this one. And man, were they excited about it. And I see why. It's been a great trade. To say the least. Sorry, I'm just getting a few DMs here. So ARWR, 100's about to go through the 200. Now that's the least powerful of the bunch. The 20 and the 50 going through the 200 was the most powerful of the bunch. I'd be cautious here now. You're getting close to the gap fill, but what a fantastic play. Now it's going to come back, you know, eventually test the MAs, and when it bounces, it's time to go again. I think for this one, I guess it would be kind of fun to watch this 100. I don't know if it's officially getting through there or not yet. Well, I'll set it as a price action to the bottom side because I'm not going to follow that. Anyway. So I wouldn't doubt that you're going to see this one come off fairly soon. But you never know. ARWR. And then IPI, I really like this one. So this is potash, Intrepid Potash. It's now officially a trending stock. It's got its 200. It's been tested all the way through. Its MAs are on the right side. And that bowl couldn't be cleaner. So its squeeze momentum's up, stock RSI is up, MACD has come up again, just started to curl up. I wouldn't be surprised if you see some upside here. This one's a difficult one to alarm. So we'll just go with a price action. So that's IPI. XXII. So here again, been all over this one. Technically did its job for sure. Got up through the 200, back tested 50, bounced off 20. So it's been bouncing through the 20, or the MA is not perfect, but its MACD is back, turned back up, and it's almost into a bull formation. Could it squeeze through there? Sure it could. I don't know what the short interest is. But it gets above there and things could get very, very nasty for the shorts. Last time it had the same formation, it went from 272 to 614 in light speed. This is its formation here last time. January 16th of 2014. The same price level, identical. So I would use caution if you're short, that's for sure. On the long side, I wouldn't have a choice. I'd have to take this. Like even in a tight formation, I'd have, like in terms of trading bias, I'd have to take this even though it's a breakout, even though it's a buying into strength breakout scenario. That would be conventionally or traditionally really high risk. If this gets going, this could be the trade of the year. Could very easily double, and it would double faster than it did last time. So if it did double, so then what's the alarm? Well, it's coming up out of that bull formation. Last time it did, it back tested to its 20 and then it went again. But being that this is the second round, I don't know that it would do that actually. I think it would probably just go and stay gone. In fact, I wouldn't doubt that if this gets going on that same formation, that it does it in pre-market. And most of the story is over by the time the market opens. That's my suspicion. So this is one of the number one possible upside plays that I've seen in the market for a while. It's pretty strong. So that's XXII. Yeah, there's really not much more to say about it. It's that strong. Yeah, it's got the history too. Don't ignore that one. NVO hasn't stopped. It is one that I've been watching since it's set up and have entered previous times. It's just textbook perfect. There's really nothing more than that to say about it. It does have somewhat of a gap here. That's kind of a funky gap with some different historical resistance. But I wouldn't be surprised if it sees 50.22 without a lot of effort. It's trading 48.67. But it has got one funky day in there. That's going to cause maybe some resistance, but it's not a bad setup. I wouldn't call it a AAA, but I'd definitely call it an A setup. So if it's about to breach 49, I might actually consider a day trade on it. Okay, so that's NVO. EXTR. So I was watching this in pre-market. It alarmed. It's funky the way it trades. Like it's the setup. It's a trending stock now. But you know, the fact that it started to get some Momo there this morning and then came off, that surprised me. I like it. I mean, I like the company. I like the chart. It's definitely bullish coming out of the bull. It's got all the ingredients. I just can't figure out why it came off like it did this morning. But man, if it gets going again, it's going to go. So we'll see. I guess profit taking. S&P's up over its resistance. So it worked its way out of this quad here, got up over its resistance. And now its intraday resistance is 250.02, 250.21. It's in an okay quad right now. The next one's fairly bullish. On a little wider view, this is what I see here at support. And this has been respected and resistance. This is, in my best estimation, the trading range you're going to see the S&P in for some time. If it gets up over this line here, it's pretty much a buy with both hands, both feet, especially as it gets into here and gets up over here. This is an inverted apex on a wide time frame. September 18th it enters there, possibly. And if it does get in there and it goes from there, that's extreme. Couldn't be more bullish. That's the most bullish signal that there would be on the S&P chart. That particular line in that particular area. But we'll see. It's got, you know, it's the 12th now. I guess, you know, it's 6 days away. So that's a big deal. If it fails this, that's a big deal too. It's got a very, very bearish quad right underneath it. This is a very bearish area for it to be in. So it'll be interesting. I'm going to be watching that really close as it gets in there. For now, it's very likely going to see this diagonal line here. So what is that? That is up and around, well, on the intraday, it's 251.28, 251.30. So at some point, that's a big test. Even if it does get up in there, I think there's a high probability of it coming off. I think you're going to see it in that inverse apex. Whether or not it'll hold or not, I'm not sure. So it could get any amount of upside before then, but I think you're going to see it visit here. So if we were going to put a target on the S&P in our modeling, that target would be right here for sure. That's a huge test. One of the biggest I've seen in the S&P in the last year on the model. So that's a big one. You don't want to forget about that one. So that's the S&P. So I'm just going to set up another alarm here. So 250.02 is its next test. EXTR. It's a tough one to nail down. Okay, then we've got EXTR ALDX, that was the Momo in the morning, MBRX. MBRX I've been following. I have to admit, not the easiest trading stock since it got up through the 200. Just hasn't been easy to trade. Like even when the 50 breached the 200, it came off, which shouldn't happen. So it's not the best, so I'm not going to alarm it again. It just isn't acting right. TISI is another one that was acting perfectly under the 200 as a bottom play. And I wouldn't doubt that it's going to continue acting properly against its MIs or MAs, but that's perfect action. You couldn't get better than that. CVS we looked at, and it is now trading 2.61%. PDLI. So we've been following this one through its 200. Its MACD's getting a little stretched. Its stock RSI is a little stretched. It's getting close to its previous highs. Previous resistance. There's all kinds of reasons to be concerned about holding it too far now. You could and see how it does, but you know, and pull once it starts to come off. But it's definitely challenged. So beyond that, I don't think. Well, it's well, you can call it resistance too. Anyway, I'm not going to reset the alarm because I don't think it's one that I'm going to look at. So I'm going to take a quick look at the Momos here for the day. TI, I didn't. I can take a look. Wow, that's a nice chart, hey? So it's got a sidewinder lining up here. It's above its 200. Its main issue is that 50 and that 100 above. But between here and that 50, I wouldn't doubt that it doesn't stop. So the 50's at 42.50 on the intraday, well, a little higher, but by the time they meet, it'll probably be around 40, 41.24, 41.50. It's just a smoking chart. Like it could blow through those MAs, no problem. It's a gap fill. Yeah, what a great chart. It's a high day right now too. So it's testing this previous high here, so it's about to enter the gap. Super cool. Good call on that, Corey. Man, I'd almost have no choice but to go. I mean, it's obviously going to test at that 50. So $40, I'd almost be irresponsible not longing it. But that sidewinder setting up, Gap fill over the 200. MACD up, squeeze momentum up. It's history. It's only got one problem, that's the MAs above. So you just have to watch your overhead. Few hurdles there. It's a trader's setup. Like, I'm not surprised that the traders are in it right now, pushing it to high a day. What a great setup. Just got that one issue, that's it. And that's not even really a big issue because you're going to get enough lift before it gets to the 50. So how's your hourly on it? Hourly looks great. Your hourly has a small sideliner setting up on it. When that 20 breaches that 50 right there, I bet you that's what'll take it through. Crossing the 50 on the hourly. I bet you that's where she goes through the buy zone. Over 40 bucks. Might not be, but definitely could be. It's even got a small gap on the hourly here. Plus resistance. So on the hourly, your buy is in the Whew, it's tough. So that is the gap. Sweet setup. Yeah, I can't say enough about that one. That one's a good, great setup. So your volume in this really isn't going to matter. This isn't a momentum. This is a setup. So on your weekly, you got a resistance in there. 40.72. Ish. That's an ish. 40.50 probably closer. On your way up, you could use the bottom of those weekly candles as resistance. That's a funkadelic setup, boy. Over 42.25, it's probably gone. It's got one more in there. Yeah, this is one where you'd want to be in and then just set up all your support and resistance. And you could go with the waves on it. Nice. Nice, really, really nice. See, these indicators on the weekly, they'll turn up. Everything else gets going. I mean, your 1 hour is crazy setup. So that's all confirmed. It's a matter of your daily confirming. Yeah, even your 4 hours setting up. It's almost there. So the bulls are going to bring it probably right into that final decision before go time. So it'll probably go in pre-market. I'd be surprised if it goes today, but I bet you it'll go in pre-market. When it goes, it'll probably go in pre-market. Sweet. Your 4 hours set up, your hourly set up, your daily's just about, well, your 4 hours just about there too. So you're so close. And you could just set up your resistance zones, your fibs, watch your MAs, and just go with the waves in between. Probability is super high on that one, that one's going. So I alarmed at the top side. I don't think it's going to get to a downside alert. Well, I also alarmed the 1 hour crossover, so I got the alarms that I need on it. We reviewed the other alarmed ones. Those are great setups, almost all of those. We'll take a really quick look at the momos on the day. There's some really sweet setups in those ones we went through there. So your momos on the day. So ALDX, we know what's going on there. AEMD, QTNT up 32%. So this is a bottom play reacting to its MA as well. So another bottom play that's handling its MAs really well. I'm just not doing them right now. I'm going to stay super tight for a while. We got FRTA coming off a bottom play. Looks good too. It's got a bit of a gap there. INOV on the day. Holy cow. Up over its 200 and gone. Probably had some follow through news. That was a gap fill there. Bottom play gap fill. Up into all kinds of resistance now. Just not really something I can get involved in right now. It's too far gone. Maybe on a pullback. SAEX. Actually, I can go back to that one really quick here. So follow through on this. It's extended. What's its volume like? It's got lots of liquidity. Yeah, it's up against weekly resistance now. So interesting. It's hard to discount this one. I'm going to watch the stock RSI on its way back down and try and catch the turn the other way. So that's INOV, and we looked at PI. SAEX, not my thing. Oh, we already got the alarm on this one. I'm going to have to do this better. What am I going to do here? Let's just do the MACD. Actually, you know what? I'll take it right from tighter range here. Yeah, I'll take it from here. MACD, crossing, MACD. I can't take it on a breakout now. I'd have to follow it through to get the turn. What else we got on here? ATOM. This is a continuation. Obviously squeezing. Low floater. Crazy. Crazy. Yeah, couldn't do it, but I can see why it's being attractive. Bottom play, CTRX, or CTXR. CDXC. Psychedelic too. Powerhouse. Oh, 20 is breaching the 50. That's what its big move is right now. So it came up out of a sidewinder and it's gone now. It's hard to say, you know. It's just, it's too far gone now. Just can't do that one. Wowza. Great setup. Very still going. Man. Oh, I was so early on this one. Down in here, I could have. There you go. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. These ones just keep going. ARWR. EFOI. Bottom play. VHC. Caution. So it has its 200, but lots of caution here. You have to look into what the company does to understand. You have to understand the fundamentals there in a big way. CRC, California Resources, bottom play. It's very consistently popped on its bottom plays. There's not a lot I can say about it. TTOO up over its 200. The 20 is about to breach the 200. This is interesting. Now, the fundamentals I know nothing about. But this formation, with the 20 about to breach the 200, the 50 about to breach the 100 with price above, MACD up and squeeze momentum up, and decent volume for what it is extremely bullish. So TTOO, wowza. So 50 crossing the 100. Crossing the 200. Wow. That's crazy bullish. Great setup. That's TTOO. CBAY, CBAY, trending stock now. Came back, tested its previous resistance that becomes support. A lot of traders would take this trade now. That's why it's getting its bounce. Not my thing right now, but and the MACD's up and the squeeze momentum starting to turn green and the stock RSI is starting to move up. It's decent. EQS. A 200 bounce on a trending stock. Not a lot to say there. I'm not going to take it, but look at that. Wow. The bulls are in. These are really, really clean charts. Bottom play, very clean. PES. I don't like it, but it's clean. SM bottom play, SM energy, I wouldn't go there myself. LEU, so some of these energy plays are starting to move. LEU I made a fortune in. Over here. Was it here? Or here? No, not 2013, not 2014. Winter of 2015, I thought it was, or maybe it was March 2016. I think that was it. Ran from $1 to $5.50. Low floater, caution. But she can get going when she gets going. Be interesting to see what happens with that one. It's just not something I could trade right now. What else we got going on here? CRR, Carboceramics, bottom play. WLL, bottom play. EFOI, bottom play. SAEX, no, I can't even look at it. Yeah, so that's the list. So I'm going to put this video out right away to the members. There's a lot on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to process this one pronto. And yeah, is there any others you guys want me to look at quick? Look at that, perfect hour too. So you got PI. That's it. Okay. Oh, yeah, I got all the time in the world. So yeah, I did note a fit in premium. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Just like the company itself. But look at, funny, eh? Like I watched this thing all the way through here, and now it's finally got its 200. I mean, yeah, technically it's there, right? So is it going to go? Good golly. I mean, the traders might trade it up, right? Through its gap. You never know. You just never know. Like Twitter's setting up, right? And for its gap fill, and I didn't even bring it up because it's the nature of the stock, the way it trades, right? Just has a habit of burning people. But yeah, so I would just set up your support and resistance back here off your previous. Make sure you know where they are. Get your fib set up over here and trade it on the hourly, you know, your entry. It's the best advice I could give on it, or wait for that 20 to breach the 200. Why don't we do that? Because if that happens, it's going gone. 20 crossing the 200. It's just one of those stocks on one of those charts. If you guys want me to look at any others, we have all, like I got all afternoon, so no pressure at all. So that's fit. I wish I could give you more advice on it, but looks like it could go. definitely divergent. Kind of did the same thing here though, so you gotta be careful, but it didn't have the 200. So, no problem. That squeeze momentum is really high too, like relative to recent. That little bugger might go. You might get, you know, like your 716 is your first kind of test, then your 850 area, but you might get your full move on it, like into 11 bucks. That'd be funny. It could easily happen. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to get this video published and check my trades here. And unless there's something else we should chat about. Thanks for bringing in those trades, guys. Talk soon.